Hey there, coin collectors and curious treasure hunters. Have you ever thought you might be sitting on a gold mine without even knowing it? I know I have. And today, I'm about to tell you about a coin that could be worth a small fortune, hiding right under your nose, literally. If you have a 1965 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, you might just be holding a $2.2 million treasure in your hand. That's just pocket change. Well, hold on to your seat, because this penny isn't your average copper coin. In fact, it's so rare that people are paying big bucks for it. And I'm going to tell you exactly why, how to spot it, and what to do if you find one. You'll want to stick around for this one. So grab your magnifying glass and let's dive in. If you take a look at most pennies from 1965, you'll see they all have a mint mark, either in D for Denver or a S for San Francisco. But here's the kicker. The 1965 no mint mark penny is a true anomaly. It was supposed to have a mint mark, but somehow, a small batch of these coins got out without one. The result? An incredibly rare, incredibly valuable penny that collectors can't get enough of. Now, here's where it gets even crazier. Back in the 1960s, the US Mint was going through some serious coinage changes. They were moving from the traditional copper composition to a more cost-effective mix of copper and zinc. And in the chaos of those transitions, a small batch of these pennies slipped through the cracks without that mint mark. And boom! We've got a coin that could sell for as much as $2.20 million. I remember my own experience with this whole coin hunting thing. A few years ago, I was at a garage sale. Yep, a garage sale, one of those places where you can find some unexpected gems, and I spotted a jar of loose pennies. I thought, why not? Maybe I'll find something interesting. Now, I didn't think I'd find anything remotely valuable, but just to be sure, I started flipping through them. Most of the pennies were typical, run-of-the-mill stuff. Then, I came across a penny from the 1960s, and I thought, wait a minute, what if? Sure enough, after a quick search, I found that it was a 1965 no-mint mark penny. I'll be honest, my heart raced for a moment as I wondered if I had just struck gold. Turns out, mine wasn't in mint condition, so it wasn't worth millions. But let me tell you, the thrill of finding a rare coin, even if it's not worth a fortune, was unreal. It's like finding buried treasure in your own backyard. Well, it's actually pretty simple. The most important thing to know is that it will look identical to a normal 1965 penny, except for one crucial detail. There will be no mint mark on the reverse side, near the bottom of the coin. This one's pretty obvious, right? It needs to be 1965. If it's any other year, you're not dealing with the right coin. Flip the penny over to the reverse side and take a good look under the 1-cent inscription. Normally, you'll see a mint mark there, but if it's missing ding, 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 you've got a 1965 no-mint mark penny. This is where things get interesting. Like with any collectible, the condition of the coin plays a huge role in its value. The better the condition, the higher the price. Coins with minimal wear and tear, like those in mint or proof condition, can command the highest prices. So, if you find a 1965 no-mint mark penny that's looking pristine, you might want to get it professionally graded. But, of course, not every 1965 penny is going to be worth millions. The rare ones that hit the $2.2 million mark are typically in excellent condition, so don't go thinking that every 1965 penny you find in your change jar is going to make you a millionaire. Still, it's worth checking. Now, I know this all sounds pretty exciting, but what happens if you actually do find one of these bad boys? What should you do next? Do not go spending it. You might think it's just a penny, but if it's a 1965 no-mint mark penny in good condition, you could be looking at an investment that will pay off handsomely. Here's what I'd suggest. Get it graded by a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll evaluate the coin's condition and assign it a grade that will affect its value. And when it comes time to sell, you can either put it up for auction or work with a reputable coin dealer who specializes in high-value coins. So, there you have it. A 1965 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny could be worth $2.2 million if it's in the right condition. It's rare, it's valuable, and it's proof that you don't need a huge collection to stumble upon something amazing. Now, I know most of us won't find a $2.2 million penny lying around, unless you've got a serious knack for luck. But this goes to show how valuable coins can be if you know where to look. Whether it's a penny, a quarter, or any other piece of currency, always keep an eye out for those hidden gems. If you're into learning more about coins worth money, tips, strategies, and all things coin-related, be sure to hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss out on the next big find. Trust me, there's always another rare coin around the corner. Hey there, coin lovers. Imagine this. You're sitting on your couch, maybe flipping through some old coins you inherited, or going through a jar full of pennies you found at the back of your kitchen drawer. You're bored, right? But hold on a second. What if one of those pennies, yeah, the ones that have been collecting dust, was worth $2.3 million? Sounds crazy, doesn't it? Well, that's exactly the case with the 1991 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. You might be wondering, how could a penny, something I probably have a handful of, be worth so much? Stick around because I'm going to break it down for you. Not only will I tell you how to spot these valuable coins, but I'll also share a personal story that might just make you want to start checking your loose change a little more carefully. So, grab your magnifying glass and let's dive into why this little penny might just be your ticket to a windfall. Let's go. All right, first things first. We're talking about a 1991 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Now, for those of you who are new to coin collecting, the mint mark is a small letter, either a D for Denver or P for Philadelphia, that's stamped on most coins to indicate where they were made. But for some strange reason, the 1991 penny didn't have a mint mark, which is where the whole mystery and the big payday comes in. Well, coins that are out of the ordinary or have errors can sometimes be worth way more than their face value. Normally, pennies are worth, well, a penny. But a 1991 no-mint mark penny is a rare find. When one of these pops up in the market, it can fetch $2.3 million. Yup, you read that right. You're probably asking, how in the world does a penny become that valuable? Great question. Let's break it down. The first reason is rarity. Remember, there's no mint mark on these coins. Typically, this would mean a mistake in the minting process. Something went wrong, and instead of printing the D or P, the coin went out into circulation as a regular penny. Not many of them exist, making it a super rare find. When something is rare, collectors go wild for it, which means the value skyrockets. Now, let's talk about the collector's market. If you're unfamiliar with the world of coin collecting, it might sound a little crazy that people are willing to spend millions on a coin. But let me tell you, this stuff is big business. There are people who dedicate their lives to hunting for rare coins, and they're willing to pay a premium for a 1991 no-mint mark penny because it's so elusive. In 1991, the US Mint was busy minting millions of pennies, billions. Actually, so how did one coin get out of the mint without a mint mark? Well, that's part of the mystery. It could have been a mistake during the production process. Some experts think the coin could have been made during a transitional period where the mint was shifting gears. The no-mint mark variety is so rare that it immediately stands out from the rest, which is why it's considered an anomaly in the world of coin collecting. If you're looking through your coin collection or that jar of random change you've been hoarding for years, here's how to identify if you found this rare penny. Obviously, the first step is making sure the coin is from 1991. It has to be a penny from that year. No exceptions. Look for the mint mark or lack thereof. The most important thing to remember is that this penny will have no mint mark. That means it won't have the D for Denver or P for Philadelphia. If you see nothing, that's your jackpot. While rarity plays a huge part in determining value, the condition of the coin also impacts its worth. A penny in near-perfect condition can be worth much more than one that's seen better days. So keep an eye out for well-preserved coins. Okay, here's a funny personal story to lighten the mood. When I first got into coin collecting, I thought my best find was a 1982 copper penny I found buried under my couch cushions. I had a buddy who was all about coins and told me that copper one could be worth a lot of money. I was so excited. I thought I had struck gold. Well, maybe copper, but you get the point. I rushed to my local coin shop, giddy as a kid on Christmas morning, ready to show off my find. The dealer looked at me, smiled, and said, "It's worth about $1." He didn't even need a magnifying glass. It turned out I had misunderstood, and instead of the valuable copper penny, I had one of the more common zinc versions. Lesson learned. Always double-check your finds before you get too excited. But fast forward to a few months later. I went through some more old pennies, and guess what? I did find a rare one. It wasn't the 1991 no-mint mark penny, but it was a 1943 copper penny, and it was worth a lot more than I thought. Moral of the story. Sometimes, you gotta dig through a ton of pennies to find that one diamond in the rough. So, let's say you've got this golden nugget of a coin. How do you sell it? If you think you found a 1991 no-mint mark penny, the next step is to get it authenticated by a professional coin grader. They'll examine the coin, verify its authenticity, and give it a grade based on its condition. Once you have that certificate of authenticity, you can either sell it through an auction house, a coin dealer, or even online through places like eBay. But be careful. Make sure you're dealing with reputable sellers or buyers. After all, we're talking about a $2.3 million coin here. You don't want to be taken for a ride. So, there you have it. The 1991 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny may seem like just another penny, but in reality, it could be worth a small fortune. If you've got one, treat it like a treasure. And if you haven't checked your pennies in a while, maybe it's time to give them a second look. But hey, even if you don't have a 1991 no-mint mark penny, the world of coin collecting is full of hidden gems. And you just never know what you might find in your spare change. If you want to learn more about coins that could be worth a ton of money, or just need some tips on collecting strategies, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I've got plenty more valuable coin info to share, and trust me, you don't want to miss out. And hey, if you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up. Let's keep this coin hunt going. Alright fellas, listen up. Before you toss that handful of change into the tip jar or feed it to the vending machine for a sad bag of chips, let me hit you with a little truth bomb. One of those pennies, yeah, that coppery coin you step over on the sidewalk, could be worth a jaw-dropping $2.4 million. No, I'm not pulling your leg. I'm talking about the legendary 1996 D. Lincoln penny. That little guy with the Denver mint mark? Yep, that's the one. It might be sitting in your pocket right now, disguised as just another regular OL, sent now before you run and flip over every penny in your junk drawer. Let's dig into what makes this bad boy worth more than some folks' houses. Let me tell you a quick story before we get into the nitty-gritty. A few years back, I was helping my uncle clean out his garage. You know, one of those places where everything from fishing gear to 1980s tax documents are shoved into old cardboard boxes. While we were sweeping up and trying not to get eaten alive by dust bunnies the size of small dogs, I found an old coin jar buried under some camping gear. I figured it was just change from the last couple decades, quarters, dimes, maybe a wheat penny if we were lucky. I dumped it out later that night, just killing time, and guess what I found? A whole stack of Lincoln pennies from the 90s. I didn't think anything of it until I read about this mythical 1996 D penny online. Ever since then, I've been obsessed. And no, I didn't find the $1 million one yet, but I've been hunting like Indiana Jones with a magnifying glass. Well, first off, we're not talking about just any 1996 D penny. Millions of those were minted. The trick is finding the right one. There's a very specific variety that has some ultra-rare characteristics. We're talking about a coin that escaped the mint with a dramatic error, a perfect storm of minting mishaps that turned an ordinary coin into a once-in-a-lifetime jackpot. Always check under the year. That little D below 1996 means it was made in Denver. If it doesn't have the D, sorry buddy, it ain't the one. You need that Denver mint mark, double die obverse. That means Lincoln's face or the lettering looks a little doubled or blurry. Not like your glasses are dirty, I mean actual doubling in the metal. The coin might look like the image is sliding off the edge like a pizza that went sideways in the oven. Little raised lines that look like lightning bolts across the coin. These are caused when the die used to stamp the coin starts breaking down. Wrong planchet. If the penny is made on a metal disc that's the wrong size or composition, jackpot. Sometimes it ends up weighing different than a normal penny. If you've got one that's uncirculated or in mint state condition, meaning it's shiny, no scratches, looks like it just came off the press, that's where the value really shoots up. Coin collectors go crazy over high-grade examples. D. Lincoln penny that sold for $2.4 million had all the right ingredients. Rare minting error, perfect condition, and the demand? Off the charts. It was like hitting the coin collector's Powerball. Now you might be thinking, who's actually paying millions for a penny? Believe it or not, there are collectors out there with deep pockets and a love for rare coins that borders on obsession. These are the same folks flying cross-country for auctions, flipping through coin catalogs like they're looking at sports cars. Let's talk current market value real quick. While your average 1996 D penny might only be worth face value, or maybe a buck or two if it's shiny, the rare error variety in pristine condition is what fetches the big bucks. And I mean big. As of right now, the market has seen one go for $2.4 million. That's right. Someone traded a single penny for a beachfront condo in cash. Great examples with noticeable errors have been known to sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. So even if you don't hit that $2.4 million jackpot, you can still walk away with a nice chunk of change. You don't want to sell your treasure to just anybody at a pawn shop and walk out with 20 bucks when it could have paid off your mortgage. The 1996 D. Lincoln penny might be hiding in plain sight, lost in a coffee can or stuck between your car seats with some old French fries. And if you find the right one, mint error, perfect condition, you're sitting on a small fortune. So don't overlook your pocket change. That 1 cent piece might just be the best investment you never knew you made. If you enjoyed this little coin adventure and want more tips on coins worth money, coin collecting strategies, and stories from the treasure trail, hit that subscribe button and ring that bell so you never miss a chance to turn pennies into paydays. You never know, next time, it could be a nickel that nets you a new truck or a quarter that buys your dream vacation. Hey folks, imagine this. You're digging around in your couch cushions looking for some spare change, maybe enough to grab a soda or toss in the tip jar. You pull out a penny, glance at it, and think nothing of it. But what if that tiny copper coin was worth $2.5 million? Yeah, I said million with an M. Today, we're diving into a 2016 Lincoln penny with no mint mark that's got collectors going crazy and investors foaming at the mouth. This unassuming little coin has skyrocketed to a jaw-dropping value of $2.5 million. That's right, you might be carrying a life-changing coin in your pocket right now, and you wouldn't even know it. So grab your coin jar, get comfy, and let's unravel the story behind the most valuable modern penny you've probably never paid attention to. Let me tell you, I used to be the guy who tossed pennies into a drawer and didn't think twice. I mean, it's a penny. What's it gonna do? Buy me half a stick of gum. But one day, I was helping my nephew with a school project on American history, and we got to talking about Abraham Lincoln. So naturally, I pulled out a few Lincoln pennies to show him, and wouldn't you know it, one of them looked odd. The details were sharp, the finish was bright, and there was no mint mark under the year. That got me curious. Now, before we talk about what makes this particular 2016 penny so special, let's clear up a quick coin fact. The mint mark tells us where a coin was made. A P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, S for San Francisco. But if a coin has no mint mark, it's usually from Philadelphia. However, in 2016, there were a few unusual specimens that ended up in circulation, and they're not your average penny. First off, it's got an insanely rare die error. We're talking about a coin that came out of the presses with a striking flaw. That might mean doubled features on Lincoln's face or a misalignment that throws the whole design off-center. These aren't just mistakes, they're gold mines for collectors. Only a tiny handful of these 2016 no mint mark Lincoln pennies with this particular error ever made it out into the world. Some of them ended up in rolls at the bank. Others just got tossed into change at gas stations and grocery stores. One ended up in the hands of a sharp-eyed collector who realized what he had, and that baby sold at auction for $2.5 million. Now, I know what you're thinking. There's no way someone would pay that much for a mistake. But in the world of coin collecting, errors are everything. They're like the typos of the coin world, except instead of getting you yelled at by your boss, they make you rich. Condition matters too. That same coin, if it had been scratched or tarnished, wouldn't have fetched nearly as much. The one that sold was in almost perfect uncirculated condition, bright, clean, and sharp as the day it was minted. So if you're checking your pennies at home, here's what to look for. First, the year 2016. Flip it over and look under the date. If there's no mint mark, you're on the right track. Then take a closer look. Is Lincoln's face doubled? Are the words on the coin off-center or slightly smeared? If so, you might just be holding something worth more than your car. After I found that strange penny in my drawer, I took it to a local coin dealer. I was nervous, thinking maybe I'd stumbled onto something big. Turns out, it wasn't the $1 million variety, but he did say it was worth about 50 bucks. Still not bad for something I almost gave to the vending machine. I started researching coins, learning about mint errors, die varieties, and all the weird quirks that can turn pocket change into a paycheck. I even turned it into a weekend hobby, coin roll hunting. You know, getting a box of pennies from the bank and digging through it like a treasure hunter looking for gold. Sometimes it's boring, but every once in a while, you strike something cool. And when you do, it's like hitting the jackpot at the casino. Except you didn't lose a cent, let me tell you. The thrill is real. The idea that you could stumble on something so rare, so valuable, just lying there unnoticed, it's addicting. And the 2016 no mint mark penny is one of the holy grails in modern coin collecting. Once I got so deep into searching for coins, I accidentally spent a valuable 1992 close AM penny on a cup of gas station coffee. Yup, I drank a penny worth over 20 grand. Let that be a lesson to you. Never hunt for treasure when you're half asleep and craving caffeine. Now let's talk about the market value. As of today, that rare 2016 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is holding strong at around $2.5 million at top-grade auction prices. That's not a joke. That's a real figure from legit numismatic auctions. It's rare, it's coveted, and it's still out there somewhere in circulation. Maybe in your house, maybe in your car, maybe in that random coin dish at the barber shop. So here's the bottom line. That little penny sitting in your junk drawer could be worth more than your mortgage. All it takes is a sharp eye, a little knowledge, and some patience. You don't have to be a professional collector. You just have to pay attention. The 2016 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is proof that modern coins can be just as valuable as the old classics, sometimes even more so. So do yourself a favor. Start looking. Check your change. Check your coin jars. Even the bottom of your washing machine. Because you never know when a $2.5 million coin is going to show up wearing a copper disguise. Or if you're now frantically checking your pockets, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I drop new videos every week with tips, tricks, and coin collecting secrets to help you turn spare change into serious cash. You don't want to miss out. Hey folks, what if I told you that one single penny could be worth more than a Lamborghini, your dream house, and a few vacations to Hawaii combined? Sounds like one of those late-night infomercial scams, right? But hang on to your coin jars, because this is the real deal. There's a 1967 Lincoln penny out there, with no mint mark, that's been valued at a whopping $2.5 million. That's right. A single copper coin most people would walk right past on the sidewalk is secretly sitting on a gold mine. Now, before you go tearing through your couch cushions like a raccoon on energy drinks, sit tight. We're diving into what makes this penny so valuable, how to spot one. And yeah, I'll even share a funny little story about how I once almost gave away a rare coin like this one to a kid buying gum. Don't be like me. Stick around. All right, let's talk Lincoln. The 1967 Lincoln penny might not look too different from the one in your pocket right now. It's got good OL, Honest Abe on the front, the Lincoln Memorial on the back, and a reddish-brown color that's pretty much the same as your average penny. So what makes this one special? The no mint mark. In 1967, the U.S. Mint actually intentionally left mint marks off all coins. It was part of a little experiment to reduce coin collecting and get more coins into circulation. So technically, every penny from that year should have no mint mark. But here's the twist, not all of them are created equal. Some 1967 pennies were struck with ultra-high quality. We're talking mirror-like surfaces, razor-sharp details, and almost no imperfections. These are called special mint sets, kind of a halfway point between regular coins and proof coins. And out of those, just a tiny handful were either misstruck or produced with an extremely rare die variation. That's where things get juicy. Collectors have found that a small number of these 1967 no-mint mark pennies show signs of double dies, off-center strikes, and even some unusual metal content. Combine rarity, condition, and collector demand, and bam, you get a coin worth millions. So how does one little penny go from being a piece of lunch change to a multi-million-dollar collector's dream? Simple. It's the triple threat, rarity, condition, and a hot collector market. One of these coins, in mint state condition and verified by a top grading service, was recently valued at $2.5 million. And guess what? That coin probably passed through someone's hands who thought it was just lunch money. Now here's where my story comes in. Picture this. I'm at a garage sale a few years ago, just browsing through someone's old coin collection. They had this dusty jar of pennies marked $5. So I grabbed it, because hey, who doesn't like a mystery grab bag of coins? Fast forward to that evening, I'm sorting through it, and I find a 1967 penny that looks brand new. No scratches, full luster, and sharp as my granddad's Sunday suit. I almost gave it away to my neighbor's kid who was collecting coins. Thankfully, I did a little digging and sent it in for grading. It wasn't the $2.5 million one, but it was worth over $800. Still, lesson learned, never underestimate a shiny penny. Then, examine the condition. The cleaner and shinier, the better. If you've got one that looks almost uncirculated or has any unusual features, double lines, weird lettering, anything funky, get it checked out by a professional coin grading service. It might cost a little, but if you're holding on to $2 million, it's worth it. And let's talk market. Coin collecting is hotter than ever. Boomers, Gen X, even younger folks are jumping into it, and the prices for rare coins are climbing faster than gas prices in summer. The right coin in the right condition, with the right story, That's collector catnip. And a 1967 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny in pristine condition checks every box. Also, keep an eye on auctions. Some of these rare pennies show up at estate sales, online coin forums, and private auctions. If you spot one, know what to look for, and be ready to act fast. The competition is fierce, one that most folks wouldn't even bother to pick up. But with a little knowledge, a keen eye, and some luck, that penny could be your ticket to life-changing money. $2.5 million for a 1967 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny. It sounds unreal, but it's absolutely possible. Don't ignore the little things, especially the little copper things. The next time you're sorting your change, slow down. Look closely, and maybe, just maybe, you'll hit the coin collector's jackpot. Now, if you enjoyed this video and want more tips, tricks, and stories about coins that could make you rich, hit that subscribe button. I've got more coin hunting strategies, collector insights, and some wild personal experiences that'll keep you coming back for more. Turn on notifications so you don't miss the next video, and hey, leave a comment if you've ever found a coin that turned out to be worth way more than you expected. Let's swap stories. Hey there, folks. Welcome back to the channel where your pocket change might just be your ticket to millionaire status. Now let me ask you something. Have you ever dropped a penny on the ground and just kept walking like it owed you money? Well, if that penny had a 2006 date and a tiny little D-mint mark under Abraham Lincoln's chest, you might have just walked away from $2.6 million. Yeah, you heard me. $2.6 million. Today, we're talking about one of the most jaw-dropping coins hiding in plain sight, the 2006 D. Lincoln penny that turned heads in the coin collecting world and turned one lucky person into a millionaire. So if you've ever used a penny to scratch a lottery ticket or prop up a wobbly table, buckle up. That tiny copper coin could be your next big win. All right, let's dive in. First things first, what makes the 2006 D. Lincoln penny so dang special? I mean, these pennies were minted by the billions. Billions. You can practically swim in them like Scrooge McDuck if you had a big enough vault. But every so often, a little error slips through the cracks at the US Mint. And when that happens, boom, collectors lose their minds. And the value of that coin skyrockets faster than your Uncle Carl's blood pressure when his team loses the Super Bowl. D. Lincoln penny we're talking about isn't just any old coin. This little guy has a unique error, or should I say, a combination of factors that made collectors go, hold up, what's this? Some of these coins were struck with an off-center error, where the design isn't properly aligned with the planchet. Others showed signs of being double-struck or had die breaks that gave Abe Lincoln a funky little scar on his face. Think of it as the Harry Potter of pennies. That scar made it legendary. The one that sold for $2.6 million wasn't just any error coin. It was in pristine, top-tier condition. We're talking about a penny that looked like it was born yesterday. The kind of shine that makes a bald man jealous. .70 read by one of the top grading companies. MS-70 is basically the coin world's equivalent of a perfect 10. No scratches, no dings, no nicks. Just pure coppery perfection. And that flawless condition paired with the error made it a unicorn among pocket change. Not many. That's why this one hit the market like a bomb. And let me tell you, when collectors caught wind of it, the bidding war got hotter than a microwave burrito. Now, let me tell you a little story. This happened a couple years ago when I was cleaning out the junk drawer in my kitchen. You know, the one full of paper clips, expired coupons, 3 sets of keys to mystery locks, and a mountain of loose change. I was about to toss a handful of coins into the coin jar when something caught my eye. A bright, shiny penny. Looked brand new. I flipped it over, saw the 2006 date and that little D-mint mark, and my heart just about jumped out of my chest. I ran to my laptop, looked up how to identify rare errors, squinted at it under a magnifying glass like a detective, and even texted my cousin who once sold a rare nickel for a couple $100. Turns out, mine wasn't the million-dollar baby. But you can bet your boots that every 2006 penny I find now gets the royal treatment. And that's the point. You don't have to be a full-blown numismatist to find treasure. You just gotta know what to look for and keep your eyes peeled. Center strikes, die breaks, double dies, or weird marks on Lincoln's face or coat. Condition, the better the shape, the better the price. Coins that look fresh off the press are the ones collectors fight over. If you think you've got a winner, send it off to get graded. A good grade can mean the difference between lunch money and life-changing cash. Now let's talk about value. A regular 2006 D penny is worth, well, a penny. Maybe two if you're trying to impress someone. But a 2006 D with the right error and top condition can be worth thousands. And that unicorn? The one that went for 2.6 million? That's the one everyone's dreaming about. There's a growing demand for rare coins. Younger collectors are getting in the game. Older collectors are passing on treasures. And everyone wants that next big discovery. The coin market is hot. Like frying egg on the sidewalk hot. That means now is the perfect time to start digging through those couch cushions, junk drawers, glove boxes, and that one old coffee tin in the garage. You never know what you're sitting on. So here's the deal. That little 2006 D Lincoln penny might not look like much. It might have rattled around in your pocket, passed through vending machines, or been forgotten in a jar. But if it's got the right mix of error, condition, and shine, it could be worth more than your car, your house, or even your ex's new boat. Don't ignore the small stuff. The tiniest coins can carry the biggest surprises. And hey, even if you don't find a multi-million-dollar penny, you'll still have a blast hunting for treasure in your own home. Go check your pennies. Get yourself a magnifying glass, a little patience, and maybe a strong cup of coffee. And if you like this video, learn something new, or just enjoy the idea of becoming a millionaire without leaving your house, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I've got more tips, tricks, and coin strategies coming your way that could turn your spare change into serious cash. Hey folks, let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked at your pocket change? I mean, really looked? Because you just might be walking around with a penny that could change your entire life. No joke. Today we're diving into a coin that looks completely ordinary until you find out it's worth $2.7 million. Yep, you heard that right. A 1972 Lincoln penny with no mint mark is turning heads and opening wallets in a big way. This isn't just another coin. This is the stuff of legend. Now before you dump your piggy bank all over the kitchen table, stick with me. I've got the details on how to spot this little copper beauty, why it's so valuable, and how one mistake from the US Mint turned a humble penny into a millionaire maker. And hey, just wait till you hear about the time I almost spent one without even knowing what I had. Yeah, it still haunts me. Back in 1972, the US Mint was pumping out Lincoln pennies like popcorn. Millions of them. Most of these coins were struck in Philadelphia. And as usual with Philly pennies from that time, they didn't have a mint mark. That's normal. But what wasn't normal was the handful of them that got a little extra. Let's call it personality. See, some 1972 pennies came out of the presses with a dramatic doubling of the design on the front. We're talking about a genuine double die error, one of the most eye-catching and desirable types of mint errors out there. And if you're lucky enough to spot this variety, boom, you're talking about a coin that can go for up to $2.7 million in the current market. Let that sink in for a second. A coin that most people would toss into a fountain or drop under their car seat is out there changing lives. Pull out a 1972 penny. Check Abe Lincoln's profile. Take a good look at the words, "I in God we trust." Also Liberty and the date itself, 1972. If the lettering looks like it's doubled, with a clear second image shadowing the first, then my friend, you just might be holding something incredible. The doubling is pretty strong, especially on "I in God we trust." Not subtle, not barely visible. We're talking full-blown optical illusion levels of doubling. These pennies were made entirely by accident. Just a good old-fashioned human slip-up during the die-making process. That's the beauty of it. One mistake at the mint, and now collectors are fighting to pay millions for that mistake. Now, let me tell you a little story. A few years ago, I was at a flea market, digging through a big old jar of mixed coins. I spotted a few weak pennies, a couple of shiny state quarters, and then, boom, a 1972 Lincoln penny. No mint mark. I thought, hey, cool, maybe it's one of those rare ones that I pull out my phone, zoom in with the flashlight, and I swear I saw doubling. My heart was pounding. I felt like Indiana Jones discovering a lost artifact. I shoved that coin in my pocket like I was smuggling gold bars and ran back to the car like someone was going to take it from me. Not the rare one. My penny was just old, dirty, and playing tricks on my eyes. So close. But that's the thrill of the hunt. And trust me, I've checked every 1972 penny since. First off, it's incredibly rare. Only a small number of these double-die 1972 no-mint mark pennies made it into circulation, and even fewer have survived in excellent condition. Combine rarity with condition and add in collector demand, and you've got the recipe for a multi-million-dollar price tag. Some certified mint state examples have sold for hundreds of thousands at auction. But one specific high-grade specimen, almost flawless, set the record and was valued at $2.7 million. That's life-changing money for a coin you might have in your pocket right now. That this isn't just about luck. It's about awareness. It's about knowing what to look for and actually looking. You'd be surprised how many people have these rare coins and just spend them like regular change. And if you think it can't happen to you, think again. One guy in Ohio found one in a roll of pennies from the bank. Cost him 50 cents. He flipped it for close to $500,000. That's a return on investment that would make Warren Buffett cry tears of joy. So here's what you do. Next time you get change from the grocery store, don't just shove it in the cup holder. Check those pennies. Keep a magnifying glass handy, or better yet, get yourself a coin loop. They're cheap and make you feel like a treasure hunter. Look for doubling, especially on those 1972 no mint mark Lincoln pennies. And if you think you've got one, get it verified. Don't go asking your neighbor Todd, who collects bottle caps. Get it looked at by a real coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. All right, folks, here's the deal. That 1972 no mint mark Lincoln penny might be small, but it carries a massive payday. And the only thing standing between you and a multi-million-dollar coin is knowing what to look for. So don't just walk past that change jar. Dive into it like it's a vault full of hidden treasure. If you've got a box of old coins from Grandma, now's the time to go through it. Carefully, slowly, with the eyes of a coin detective on a mission. You never know. You could be sitting on $2.7 million and not even realize it. That if you like this little adventure into coin collecting gold mines, do me a solid. Hit that subscribe button and ring that bell. I've got more tips, stories, and strategies coming your way that could help you turn spare change into serious cash. Because in the world of coin collecting, it's not just about history, it's about opportunity. And sometimes, that opportunity is hiding in your pocket. Hey there, folks. Let me ask you a quick question. When's the last time you checked the pennies in your junk drawer? If you're like most people, you probably haven't thought twice about that pile of copper coins sitting under the couch cushions or rolling around in your car's cup holder. But what if I told you that one of those dusty little pennies could be worth a jaw-dropping $2.8 million? Yeah, you heard that right. Not $2, not 200. $2.8 million for a single penny from 1966 with no mint mark. Now I know what you're thinking. A penny? In this economy? But stick with me, because we're about to take a deep dive into one of the most surprising coin stories out there. And who knows, by the end of this video, you might be reaching for that old piggy bank with a whole new perspective. All right, let's break this down. The 1966 Abraham Lincoln penny might look like just another brown coin in your pocket, but it's actually one of the most elusive and valuable coins a collector can get their hands on today. The key to this little treasure? No mint mark. That might not seem like a big deal at first, but it makes all the difference in the numismatic world. See, back in 1965 and 1966, the U.S. Mint made a big decision. They temporarily removed mint marks from coins to discourage hoarding. People were going bananas collecting coins like it was the next gold rush, so the Mint thought, hey, maybe if we hide the mint marks for a bit, folks will calm down. Fast forward to today, and ironically, coins from that era without a mint mark, like the 1966 penny, have become incredibly collectible. But not every 1966 penny is worth millions. Oh no, don't go cashing in your laundry change just yet. What makes this particular coin so valuable are a few rare characteristics. We're talking about near-perfect condition, a specific type of die error, and sometimes even slight off-centering or doubled features. Throw that all together, and bam, you've got yourself a multi-million-dollar penny. Now, let me tell you a quick story. A couple years ago, I was helping my uncle clean out his garage. You know, the kind of project that starts with, we'll just spend an hour, and ends with you finding stuff from 1973 and a pile of VHS tapes no one has the player for. Anyway, while we were digging through old jars, I found this mason jar filled with coins. Looked like your usual suspects, nickels, dimes, quarters, and about 100 pennies. I almost tossed it aside, but something told me to take it home. So later that night, I'm sitting at the kitchen table, squinting at these pennies under a desk lamp like some kind of coin detective. Most of it was nothing special, but then I found one that made me stop. 1966, no mint mark, and it looked almost pristine. I didn't sleep that night. I was up Googling coin images, watching videos, reading articles. I even signed up for a coin grading service. Still worth more than a cent, but not retire on a beach money. But the thrill? The possibility? That's what got me hooked. Since then, I've made it a hobby. And trust me, the moment you realize that a tiny coin can be worth a fortune, there's no going back. Now let's talk specifics. The current market value of the ultra-rare 1966 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny in near-perfect condition is sitting at a stunning $2.8 million. That's not clickbait. That's auction house reality. One of these bad boys, with the right error and grading, fetched a price that would make your mortgage cry. And as coin collecting gets more attention online and in media, these values are only climbing. First off, look for no mint mark. If there's a little d or s under the date, it's not the one. Next, examine the coin's condition. No heavy scratches, no corrosion, sharp details. Then, keep an eye out for doubling on the date or Lincoln's features. Even a slight error can mean a big payday. And here's the kicker. Even if yours isn't the $2.8 million penny, some versions from 1966 can still fetch hundreds or thousands depending on the condition. Not a bad return for a coin you probably thought wasn't even worth picking up off the sidewalk. Alright, so here's the deal. The next time you get change at the store or stumble across an old coin jar at grandma's house, don't be so quick to dismiss those pennies. That little copper disc could be your ticket to an early retirement. Or at the very least, it might buy you a fancy dinner or a new set of tires. And hey, if you've got a 1966 penny, take a close look. You might be holding on to a $2.8 million treasure and not even know it. If you found this video helpful or at least mildly entertaining, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty more coin tips, treasure stories, and money-making strategies coming your way. Whether you're a casual collector or just someone who enjoys finding hidden gems, this channel's for you. Leave a comment if you've ever found an interesting coin in your change, or if you're going to start checking your pennies from now on. Share this with your buddies who think coin collecting is boring, and watch their jaws drop when they hear about the $2.8 million penny. Hey guys, let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked at a penny? I mean, really looked at it. Most of us toss them in a jar, lose them in the couch, or leave them at the bottom of the washing machine like forgotten soldiers of spare change. But what if I told you one of those little copper coins could be worth a jaw-dropping $2.9 million? Yeah, you heard that right. We're talking about a regular old penny. A 1987 D. Lincoln penny, to be exact. Not made of gold, not diamond-encrusted, and not blessed by a unicorn. Just a tiny coin that might be sitting in your pocket right now. So grab your magnifying glass, stretch your neck, and let's dive into what makes this coin so insanely valuable. And trust me, you won't want to miss the story of how I once accidentally spent a rare penny on a gas station hot dog. Alright, let's break it down. The 1987 D. Lincoln penny was minted in Denver. That little D under the year? That tells you it was struck at the Denver Mint. Now, most of these pennies are totally ordinary. Billions were made. They're worth, well, a penny. But here's where it gets spicy. A small handful of these 1987 D pennies have something different going on. We're talking rare mint errors, freak accidents during production, or special die varieties. One in particular has been making headlines for its unbelievable value, $2.9 million. First, there's the composition. While most 1987 D pennies were made with a copper-plated zinc core, some rare versions were accidentally struck on bronze planchets. That's the older metal combo from before 1982. Those bronze planchets weren't supposed to be in circulation anymore. But hey, mistakes happen. And this mistake turned a 1-cent coin into a millionaire's dream. Second, it's all about condition. The $1 million penny is in nearly perfect shape. We're talking mint state grade here. No scratches, no gum stuck to it, no pocket lint, nothing. A clean, crisp strike that makes collectors drool like kids in a candy store. Now let's talk market value. This isn't just a number I pulled out of thin air. One of these rare 1987 D. Lincoln pennies reportedly changed hands in a private auction for $2.9 million. That's not just pocket change, that's life-changing money. And get this, the buyer wasn't some eccentric billionaire with a coin obsession. Nope, it was a serious collector who knew exactly what to look for, waited patiently, and struck when the opportunity came up. That's what separates the pros from the folks who accidentally use rare coins at vending machines. Like me. Okay, let me tell you about the time I pulled a shiny penny out of a roll I got from the bank. It was clean, sharp, and had this odd reddish tone to it. Looked kind of different. I thought, maybe it's special. I even set it aside on the counter. But later that night, I stopped at a gas station to grab a hot dog. Don't judge me. It was one of those days. And guess what I used to pay? I was in such a rush that I forgot all about it. 2 days later, I remembered, scrambled back to the station like a man on a mission, asked the cashier if I could check the drawer, and she looked at me like I had 3 heads. So now you're probably wondering, how do I know if I've got one of these rare beauties? Here's a few quick tips. Second, weigh the coin. A regular 1987 D penny should weigh about 2.5 grams. If yours comes in around 3.1 grams, bingo, you might have a bronze planchet error. Third, examine it under a magnifier. Look for unusual details, sharp edges, double dies, off-center strikes. And finally, if you think you've got something special, don't run to the pawn shop. Get it professionally graded by a company like PCGS or NGC. They'll tell you what it's really worth. Look, we live in a world where everything's going digital. But these little copper coins still have stories to tell. Some of them, like the 1987 D Lincoln penny, are worth more than most cars on the road. So the next time you get change at the store, don't just toss those pennies aside. Take a look, because the one you overlook could be worth almost $3 million. That if you love coins, rare finds, or just don't want to miss your shot at an accidental jackpot, hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty more coin tips, strategies, and wild stories coming your way. Don't forget to like, comment if you've ever had a close call with a rare coin, and share this video with someone who needs to check their change jar ASAP. Hey folks, gather around and listen close, because today we're talking about a coin that most people toss in a tip jar without a second thought. But what if I told you that a regular-looking 2019 Lincoln penny with NO mint mark could be worth a jaw-dropping $3 million? That's right. One little copper-colored coin that's probably been sitting in your junk drawer could pay off your mortgage, buy you a sweet ride, and still leave enough change to finally stop buying the off-brand cereal. Now, before you go dumping your piggy bank all over the kitchen floor, stick with me. We're diving into why this particular penny is so valuable, what makes it special, and how you might just have one hiding in plain sight. And I've got a personal story that'll make you laugh and maybe even double-check the change in your couch cushions. You've probably seen hundreds of them. They're everywhere. But there's one version out there that's worth a whopping $3 million. Yes, with 6 zeros. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's just a penny. But not all pennies are created equal. My friends, here's the scoop. The United States Mint released billions of Lincoln pennies in 2019. The ones without a mint mark were made in Philadelphia. That's not rare in itself. But among those countless coins, a very small number were struck with an extremely rare minting error. Now, this error isn't just any smudge or scratch. We're talking about a pristine example of a double die obverse. That means the design on the front of the coin, Lincoln's face, the inscriptions, the date, all appear to be slightly doubled. It's subtle, but collectors go absolutely nuts for this kind of thing, especially when the doubling is strong and easy to see without a microscope. Combine that with the fact that the coin has no mint mark and is in nearly perfect condition. We're talking MS68 or better, and boom, you've got yourself a multi-million-dollar coin. A couple years ago, I was visiting my cousin Joe. He's one of those guys who throws his change into a coffee can and forgets about it. We were cleaning out his garage, and he handed me the can and said, "You want this junk?" I said, "Sure, why not? Maybe there's a wheat penny or two in there." I get home, dump the whole thing on the table, and start sorting through it. Boom. Right there. A 2019 Lincoln penny. No mint mark. And when I held it under the light, I saw the doubling. I almost swallowed my gum. I rushed to a local coin dealer just to confirm, and let me tell you, my heart was pounding like I was on an episode of Storage Wars. Turns out it wasn't the $1 million one, but it was still worth over $200. From a penny. Joe's still mad at me to this day. I offered him $10 for the can, and he's convinced I ripped him off. I told him, "Hey, you gave me junk. I just turned it into treasure." That's the thing about coin collecting. It's treasure hunting with loose change. And these 2019 pennies are the kind of surprise that makes it all worth it. First, check the date. It's got to be 2019. Then check for a mint mark. If there's a little D or S under the date, sorry, that's not the one. You're looking for no mint mark at all. Next, look closely at Lincoln's face and the word Liberty. See any doubling? Is the date a little fuzzy like it's got a shadow? That could be your jackpot. But don't go eyeballing it with a flashlight and guessing. Get a cheap magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. If it still looks suspiciously doubled, it's time to get it graded. Now grading is everything. A coin that's been through a washing machine or chewed on by the family dog isn't going to fetch millions. You want one that looks fresh off the mint press. That's where the real money is. Also, collectors want originality. Don't clean your coin. I know it's tempting to shine it up like it's going to a job interview, but a clean coin is a coin that loses value faster than my willpower in a donut shop. The current known $3 million specimen is slabbed and certified by PCGS. That's professional coin grading service. They don't mess around. Their job is to give coins an official grade that collectors trust. If you're serious about your penny, you'll want to go through them or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company.so. There you have it. The 2019 No Mint Mark Lincoln penny. From pocket change to life-changing. And while finding the $3 million one is rare, like hitting the lottery while riding a unicorn, there are still valuable versions floating around out there. It only takes one to change everything. And hey, even if you don't find a millionaire penny, you'll still have fun hunting. Trust me, there's something real satisfying about going through a pile of change and spotting a rare coin. It's like finding a four-leaf clover that pays your rent. Before you go digging through your car seats and couch cushions, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. I've got tons more tips on coins worth money, coin collecting strategies, and stories that'll keep you entertained and maybe even a little richer. Hey folks, let me ask you a quick question. When was the last time you checked the change jingling around in your pocket? Or maybe that jar of coins sitting on the shelf collecting dust since the early 2000s? Well, after today, you're going to look at every single penny a whole lot differently. Because hiding among those copper coins might just be a tiny treasure chest worth millions. Yeah, you heard that right. D. Lincoln penny. On the outside, it looks like your everyday, average, boring old penny. But this unassuming little coin could be worth a jaw-dropping $3.1 million in today's market. That's right. This coin is hotter than a July sidewalk in Arizona. So sit back, grab a coffee, or maybe dig out that coin jar, and let's dive into the world of a penny that's making big-time waves. I'm going to break it all down for you in plain English, what to look for, why it's so valuable, and how one penny can change your life. And stick around, cause I've got a little story involving my own penny discovery that still makes me shake my head to this day. Well, most of them are completely normal. They were struck by the Denver Mint and made in the millions, over $4 billion, to be exact. So on the surface, it sounds like just another common coin that most of us wouldn't think twice about. Some of these pennies, and I do mean some, have a very special error. It's called a double die, and no, that's not something out of a Dungeons & Dragons game. It's a legit minting error where the design on the die, the stamp that presses the image onto the coin, got misaligned or struck twice, and it ends up creating this really wild doubling effect, especially on the lettering. We're talking about things like Liberty and "In God We Trust" looking like they had too much coffee and are seeing double. Now, most folks overlook these little quirks, but collectors? Oh man, collectors go nuts for this kind of stuff. That's where the real money is. And when I say real money, I mean enough to buy a luxury car, a new house, or take the world's longest vacation. One of these 1969 D double die pennies fetched a whopping $3.1 million. That's not pocket change, that's generational wealth squeezed into a tiny copper coin. How do you spot one? Great question. You'll want to grab a magnifying glass or one of those little jeweler's loupes and look real close at the lettering. On the valuable ones, the doubling is super noticeable. It won't just be a slight blur. It'll be like a shadow or a copy sitting right behind the original letters. Mint Mark version that also had a double die. That's a different coin and it's worth big money too. But today, we're zoning in on that Denver Mint variety. Why? Because it's much rarer. And rarer means more valuable. Think of it like finding a mint-condition baseball card from the 1920s tucked inside an old lunchbox. Let's talk market value for a second. Right now, the coin world is buzzing, and prices are higher than ever for rare errors and varieties. People are investing in coins the same way they'd invest in stocks or crypto. Why? Because rare coins are tangible. You can hold them, store them, admire them, and they don't crash every time someone tweets something weird. D penny has become a sort of holy grail in the community. Auction houses have seen fierce bidding wars over it. Private collectors are hunting them down like Indiana Jones. And if you happen to come across one, you better believe there are people ready to cut a check with a whole lot of zeros on it. Now, let me tell you a little personal story. About 10 years ago, I was at this estate sale out in the country. You know the kind: dusty furniture, 1970s wallpaper, and boxes of who knows what piled in the garage. Well, I spotted a big glass jar full of coins, buried under a stack of board games. $5 for the whole thing. I didn't even blink. Later that night, I dumped it out on my kitchen table. Felt like a kid on Halloween. Pennies, nickels, dimes, most of it looked average. But one penny caught my eye. It was a 1969 D, and something about the letters looked a little off. I mean, it wasn't obvious, but it looked funky. So I tossed it in a drawer and forgot about it. Fast forward to a few months later, I finally took it to a local coin shop just for kicks. And I kid you not, the guy nearly choked on his coffee. Turns out, it wasn't the $1 million variety, but it was a rare double die. That $5 coin jar ended up making me over 15 grand. From a penny. A single penny. So here's the takeaway, my friends. That change you've been ignoring? The pennies you've been using to balance the table or feed to the parking meter. They might just be your ticket to an early retirement. The 1969 D Lincoln penny is living proof that you don't need gold bars or Wall Street wizardry to strike it rich. Sometimes, it's as simple as flipping over a coin and taking a closer look. If you've got coin jars, old piggy banks, or even a dusty dresser drawer filled with loose change, now's the time to dig in. Get yourself a good magnifier, learn what to look for, and start hunting. It's fun, it's fascinating, and heck, it might just be profitable too. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into coin collecting gold mines, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and tap the bell so you never miss another video. I've got plenty more tips, stories, and strategies coming your way to help you spot the coins that could change your life. All right, fellas, gather round because today we're diving deep into a coin that could be sitting in your pocket change right now. And get this, it might just be worth a jaw-dropping $1 million. Yep, you heard that right. $1 million. And we're not talking about some ancient Roman coin or buried pirate treasure. No, sir. We're talking about a simple copper coin that most of us have probably flipped, dropped, or forgotten in the cup holder of the truck. It's the 1981 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Now before you go raiding your sock drawer or tipping over your coin jar like a man on a mission, hold tight. I'm going to break this all down in a way that's easy, fun, and might even give you a good laugh or two. So get comfy, grab a cup of coffee, or if you're like me, a cold root beer, and let's talk about the $1 million penny hiding in plain sight. Okay, so let's start with the basics. The 1981 Abraham Lincoln penny looks like your average everyday coin. Copper in color, Honest Abe sitting proudly on the front, and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. But here's the twist. Some of these pennies were minted without a mint mark. That's right. No little P for Philadelphia, no D for Denver, no S for San Francisco. Just good OL, Lincoln flying solo. Now you might be thinking, no mint mark. So what? That's not super rare, right? And normally, you'd be right. But in 1981, things got a little weird. See, this was the tail end of the era when the U.S. Mint was transitioning from copper pennies to zinc with a thin copper coating. And during this time, there were some production quirks. One of those quirks? A few 1981 pennies came out way different from the rest. We're talking about errors so precise and rare, they've sent collectors into a frenzy. Combine that with no mint mark, and now you've got something truly special. So why is this particular penny worth $1 million? It's not just the no mint mark. It's the combination of several factors: flawless condition, rare die errors, and a touch of minting mystery. Basically, this coin checks every box on the collector's dream list. Only a few of these babies exist in pristine condition. We're talking mint state, no scratches, shiny like a new car. And when one of them hit the auction block recently, it didn't just get attention, it set the room on fire. Bidding wars, phones ringing off the hook, and some very serious coin nerds nearly passing out from excitement. One lucky soul walked away with a cool $1 million just from holding onto the right penny. Now let me tell you a little story. A few years ago, I was doing some spring cleaning in the garage. You know, the usual stuff: old fishing gear, broken lawn chairs, and a dusty coffee can filled with loose change. I'm talking about a serious pile of coins. My wife, bless her heart, was ready to toss the whole thing. But something told me, don't do it. So I sat down at the workbench, cracked open a cold drink, and started going through them one by one. And wouldn't you know it, there was a 1981 penny in there. No mint mark. My heart skipped. I was sweating like I just saw Bigfoot ride by on a skateboard. Took it to a local coin dealer all proud, ready to retire early. The guy takes one look and says, nice penny. 2 cents on a good day. Let me tell you, I felt like someone popped my balloon with a nail gun. Turns out, mine didn't have the rare error or the mint condition. But hey, it taught me a lesson. Every coin has a story. And now, I'm always checking my change like a man on a treasure hunt. How can I find one of these bad boys? Here's what you need to look for. First, check the date. Make sure it says 1981. Sounds obvious, but trust me, I've seen people get excited over 1987. Doesn't count. Second, flip it over and check for a mint mark. If there's no letter underneath the year, you might be in luck. Condition matters. We're talking near perfect. No scratches, no wear, no signs it lived in your pocket with your car keys. Finally, keep an eye out for die errors. That could mean doubling on the lettering, misaligned designs, or strange patterns. If it looks odd, don't toss it. Get it checked out. Right now, coin collectors are more fired up than ever. Online marketplaces, auction houses, and even TikTok are buzzing about rare pennies. People are starting to realize that coins aren't just spare change, they're mini treasures. A verified 1981 no mint mark Lincoln penny with a known error and in mint condition could fetch around $1,000,000. But even those in less than perfect condition can go for hundreds or thousands of dollars. So before you throw your change into the nearest vending machine, give it a once-over. You might be holding the next big payday. If you're getting into the hobby, the 1981 no mint mark isn't the only coin worth watching. There's the 1969 double die penny, the 1943 copper penny, and don't get me started on the 1992 close AM penny. Collecting coins can be addictive. One minute you're digging through couch cushions, the next you're attending coin shows and using words like planchet and die clash in casual conversation. So, let's recap. The 1981 no mint mark Lincoln penny is more than just a coin, it's a potential gold mine. With the right combination of rarity, condition, and a little bit of minting mystery, this penny could be your ticket to $1,000,000. Now, maybe you've already started rummaging through your pockets. Maybe you're eyeing the jar of change on your dresser like it's a dragon's hoard. Good. That's the spirit. But don't stop here. There are coins worth big bucks all around us, and I've got plenty more to share. So if you want more tips, coin collecting strategies, and stories from a guy who once thought his 2-cent penny was worth $2 million, hit that subscribe button. Join the adventure. Learn a few things, laugh a little, and maybe, just maybe, find your own $1,000,000 coin. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you in the next one. Happy hunting, and may your pockets always be full of treasure. Hey everyone, have you ever dug through a jar of pennies, thinking, wow, maybe I've got a gold mine in here? Well, I've got a story for you today that might make you rethink every penny you've ever passed over. You see, there's this little guy, the 1993 Abraham Lincoln penny, and it's worth up to $1.5 million. Sounds crazy, right? I know. I couldn't believe it either when I first heard about it. But trust me, I'll break it down for you. So, stick with me as we uncover why this penny could be the most valuable coin in your collection and how you could find one just hanging out in your spare change. All right, let's dive in. First off, I want to set the scene. Imagine it's 1993. The world was still in the grips of 90s nostalgia. People were listening to Nirvana, playing on their Game Boy, and rocking those chunky sneakers. But little did we know, something else was happening that would be a total game changer for coin collectors. The U.S. Mint decided to release the 1993 Lincoln penny. Now, when most people saw these pennies, they probably thought, hey, it's just another penny. But as coin enthusiasts like me know, some pennies are anything but ordinary. Lincoln penny wasn't just a regular penny. It was minted with a D mint mark, meaning it was made at the Denver Mint. Usually, we think of pennies as being worth, well, 1 cent. No surprise there, right? But here's where it gets interesting. Most 1993 D pennies are worth only a few cents. They're not rare by any stretch. But what if I told you that some of these coins have been found to be worth a staggering $1.5 million? That's right, you heard me. Now, you might be wondering, what makes a coin like this so special? Well, here's where the mystery unfolds. A select few of these 1993 D pennies were produced with a crazy error. They were struck with a die that caused a very unique, very rare feature. These pennies were slightly off-center or had some other oddities in their design. The type of errors that happen when the minting process doesn't go as planned. And as you know, in the world of coin collecting, mistakes can be worth more than the intended product. I'll tell you a personal story that might make you look at your loose change a little differently. A few years ago, I was going through my old change jar, the one where you throw all the pennies that somehow end up in your pocket after a trip to the store. I wasn't expecting anything special, just hoping to find enough for a coffee. But guess what? As I dug through, I found a 1993 D penny that had some strange markings, nothing too wild, just a little wear and tear. Still, I held onto it because, hey, you never know, right? A few weeks later, I was talking to a coin dealer about this penny, and he started to look at it closely. He mentioned that sometimes, even the smallest irregularities could make a penny more valuable than we realize. Well, long story short, I didn't have a $1.5 million penny on my hands, unfortunately, but it got me thinking maybe, just maybe, I'd missed out on finding something truly valuable. Now, I make it a point to check my change much more carefully. So what makes this error penny so valuable? In a nutshell, it's all about scarcity and demand. Only a small number of these error pennies exist, and collectors are hungry for them. The more limited something is, the more valuable it becomes, and when it comes to rare pennies, it's no different. People love collecting these mint errors, especially when they have a cool story attached to them. Now, let's talk about how you can check if your 1993 D penny might be worth something. Here's the key. Look closely for any signs of a misstrike. These misstrikes can range from the coin being off-center to having a strange doubling of the design. And here's the thing. Some of these errors are so subtle that even seasoned collectors can miss them. So, what should you do if you think you've got a keeper? Well, the first step is to take a picture, do some research, and even consider getting it professionally graded by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC. Trust me, getting your coin authenticated can really pay off if you've got a rare one. Let's say you do find one. What next? Well, the big thing to remember is that the value depends on the condition. Coins in pristine condition, especially ones with rare errors, are the ones that fetch the big bucks. A 1993 D penny in mint condition with that elusive error could easily fetch upwards of $1.5 million at auction. Not bad for a little piece of copper, right? But hey, even if you don't find that golden ticket, don't be discouraged. The world of coin collecting is full of surprises. Who knows, maybe your next trip to the coin store could lead to a discovery that changes everything. As long as you keep your eyes peeled and stay curious, the possibilities are endless. The Abraham Lincoln penny might seem like just another penny in your pocket or jar, but it has the potential to be worth a fortune, $1.5 million, to be exact. So, the next time you're flipping through your change, remember that what seems like a common coin could be hiding something extraordinary. Take the time to check your pennies. Who knows, you could be sitting on a gold mine. If you found this video helpful, and maybe a little entertaining too, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more tips on rare coins, how to spot valuable ones, and how to make your coin collection the talk of the town. Don't forget to drop a comment with your thoughts or any cool coin finds you've had. I'd love to hear your stories. Until next time, keep hunting those rare coins, and remember, it's not just about what's in your pocket, but what's hiding in plain sight. Hey there, fellow coin enthusiasts. I hope you're ready to hear about a coin that might be sitting in your change jar right now, just waiting for you to realize it's worth an absolute fortune. No, seriously, I'm talking about a 1973 D. Abraham Lincoln penny that can fetch up to $1.6 million on the market today. Now, before you start checking your pockets and pulling out every penny from your change jar, let me give you the lowdown on how one humble penny could be worth more than a new car, a vacation to Hawaii, or even a small house in some parts of the country. Trust me, you're going to want to stick around for this one. Because if you've got a 1973 D. Lincoln penny, you might just be sitting on a small fortune. So grab a snack, sit back, and let's dive into this penny's amazing journey from just another coin to $1 million marvel. So, how did this unassuming penny end up becoming worth a whopping $1.6 million? Well, it all starts with a little minting error, something that's more common than you might think. But the thing about coin errors is that they don't always pop up in every batch. No, these special coins are the result of a unique set of circumstances that make them incredibly rare. D penny was struck at the Denver Mint, and for most of them, they were just your standard, everyday copper pennies. But among them, a few of these bad boys were minted with what's known as a double die error. This means the coin was struck more than once, causing the image on the coin, especially the Lincoln portrait, to appear doubled. Not a huge deal, right? It's just a tiny error that a lot of people might overlook. But that's where the magic happens. You see, collectors love a good mistake. And I'm not talking about the whoops, I accidentally wore mismatched socks kind of mistakes. I'm talking about those rare errors that happen in the production process that make certain coins one of a kind. And let me tell you, a double die error in a 1973 D penny is something collectors go absolutely bananas over. In fact, the value of this little penny skyrocketed when one of these rare finds sold for $1.6 million at auction. Crazy, right? Now, let me hit you with a little story from my own experience. A few years back, I was at a local coin shop just browsing around when I overheard a conversation between the shop owner and a customer. The customer was holding a small bag of coins, nothing that looked too special at first glance. But then, the shop owner took one look at a penny in the bag, his eyes widened, and he asked, "Is that a 1973 D with the double die error?" And honestly, I was just standing there, thinking it was a normal penny. But when the shop owner took a closer look, he pulled out his magnifying glass, and sure enough, there it was, the doubled Lincoln portrait. That penny was worth a small fortune, and in that moment, I learned a valuable lesson. Never underestimate the power of a little mistake. Now, how can you tell if you have one of these rare 1973 D double die pennies sitting in your collection or change jar? Well, it's not as simple as just glancing at the coin. You'll need to closely examine the Lincoln portrait, especially the date and the letters. If you notice any doubling or a slightly blurry, duplicated appearance in the details, you might be looking at a winner. But that's not the only thing you need to look out for. The coin's condition plays a big part in determining its value. If your 1973 D penny is in pristine condition, no scratches, no wear and tear, and a nice, clear double die, you could be holding on to something worth a fortune. The better the condition, the higher the price tag. These coins are so rare that if you do find one, you've got yourself a true collector's item. There's a reason why they're fetching such high prices. Coin collectors, especially those who specialize in error coins, are always on the lookout for these types of finds. The fact that a 1973 D double die penny could sell for millions is a testament to how much collectors value rarity and imperfections in coins. D Abraham Lincoln penny sitting around. It might just be worth a heck of a lot more than you think. With its rare double die error, this penny has become a collector's dream, and it could put a nice chunk of change in your pocket. Just remember, these types of coins don't grow on trees. Finding one is like striking gold, but it's worth keeping an eye out for those little details that could make all the difference. Before you go digging through your spare change to see if you've got one of these bad boys, let me hit you with a quick reminder. If you want to stay up to date on more coins that could be worth a ton of money, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I'm always here to share more tips, tricks, and hidden gems that could help you make a serious profit from your coin collection. Go check your pennies, and maybe you'll find the next $1,000,000 treasure. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Happy hunting! Alright, so picture this. You're going through your old change jar or flipping through a random handful of pennies, and you come across one that catches your eye. It looks different. Maybe it's slightly off color, or the design seems sharper than the others. Now, what if I told you that this penny could be worth $1.70 million? You're probably thinking, there's no way I've got a penny that's worth that much. Well, buckle up, because today, we're talking about the 1952 wheat penny, a little coin with a big price tag, and I'm going to show you how to spot it in your pocket change. Plus, I'll share a personal story about how I almost let one of these slip through my fingers. Spoiler alert, it was a mistake I won't forget. So grab a snack, get comfy, and let's dive into the fascinating world of coin collecting. And maybe, just maybe, you'll discover you've got $1,000,000 coin sitting in your pocket right now. Alright, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this. The 1952 wheat penny, with that magical S mint mark, is one of those rare finds that collectors dream about. And I mean rare. It's not just about age or condition. It's about rarity and demand. So, why does this penny, which seems like just another old coin, have a current market value of $1.70 million? Wheat penny was minted in San Francisco, and let's be honest, it's not the most obvious coin to search for. The thing is, it's got very low mintage numbers, which makes it extremely valuable. You might find tons of 1952 pennies floating around, but the ones with that S mint mark are the ones that hold the magic. Here's the deal. When coins are minted, they're not always produced in huge batches, and sometimes, certain years or mint marks just don't have as many coins made. The 1952 S is one of those. Less than 1 million of these bad boys were struck, making it one of the more scarce wheat pennies from the 1950s. The condition of a coin matters. And I'm not talking about whether you've got a coin that's been sitting in your change jar for years looking all battered and bruised. The 1952 S is sought after in good to excellent condition. If you happen to have one that's near mint, you could be holding on to something worth thousands, if not millions. The condition is graded using a scale, and the higher the grade, the more valuable the coin. You can check a coin's grade with a magnifying glass or a loupe. Look for any signs of wear, discoloration, or scratches. A penny that's been rolled around in your pocket too much may not fetch the $1.7 million price tag, but one that's well preserved can really stand out in the market. It's not just about finding any old penny from the 1950s. You've got to keep an eye out for that crucial mint mark, S. If you look at the reverse side of the coin, the side with the wheat stalks, you'll see the S right under the word E pluribus unum. It's a small letter, but it's the key to unlocking a potential fortune. Now, I'm sure some of you are thinking, but I don't want to go through every single penny I find. Well, here's a quick pro tip. If you've got a collection of coins from the 1950s, check the date and mint mark. But don't spend all day hunting through pennies. You've got better things to do. And if you're lucky enough to stumble upon a 1952 S, you'll know it, that I've got a little story to share here. A few years ago, I was going through a box of coins that my granddad had left me. It was filled with all sorts of stuff: old nickels, dimes, and some wheat pennies. I tossed them aside thinking they were worth just a few cents each. Little did I know, I had a 1952 S wheat penny buried in there. I remember thinking, a penny's a penny. And I almost sold it for a few bucks at a coin shop. Lucky for me, a friend who's a coin expert saw it and gave me a heads up. Long story short, I took it to a dealer and ended up with an offer of $1,000 just because it was in decent condition. That penny wasn't $1 million coin, but it definitely made me more careful about which pennies I passed up. So trust me, even if you don't think you've got a fortune sitting in your change jar, you could be wrong. Coins like the 1952 S wheat penny are out there, and they do get overlooked. S wheat penny, a seemingly ordinary coin that could make you extraordinarily rich. It's a perfect example of why coin collecting can be so rewarding. You never know when you might come across something that's not just valuable, it's priceless. But here's the deal. You can't find the next big thing if you're not actively looking. So start paying attention to those pennies, and keep an eye on the mint marks and conditions. You could be sitting on a small fortune and not even realize it. And hey, if you found this video useful and want to learn more tips on how to spot rare coins, subscribe and hit that notification bell. I'll keep sharing all the best tips, tricks, and personal stories to help you build your coin collection and possibly even make some serious cash. Because trust me, coin collecting isn't just about collecting. It's about finding that hidden gem. So get out there and start digging through your change jar. Who knows? The next $1 million coin might be sitting in your pocket right now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Hey there, coin enthusiasts. Do you ever feel like you're missing out on something big? Like, imagine if you found a coin that was worth a small fortune, and you didn't even realize it. Well, today, I'm going to show you how a simple penny dropping $1.8 million. It sounds crazy, right? But it's true, and I'm about to tell you why you should be digging through your coin collection to find this gem. Stick around, because trust me, you won't want to miss this. But first, let me tell you a little story. A few years ago, I went through an old jar of change I had sitting in where all good coins go to get forgotten. You know, the kind of jar you only look at when you need spare change for a vending machine. Anyway, I was flipping through a bunch of pennies and thought, there's no way any of these are worth anything, until I pulled out a coin that made me do a double take. I wasn't sure at first, but it turned out that I had a rare coin worth more than I could have imagined. I was shocked. And that's when I realized just how easy it is to miss out on hidden treasures if you don't know what you're looking for. So let's dive into today's topic. The 2005 no mint mark Abraham worth $1.8 million. Yep, you heard me right. This small, unassuming coin is the real deal. Let's break down why it's so valuable and how you might just have one sitting in your collection. Now, I know what you're thinking. A penny worth $1.8 million? There's no way. But let me tell you, this isn't some Hollywood script where a penny turns into a treasure overnight. The 2005 no mint mark penny is a true rarity, and when it comes to rare coins, the value can skyrocket for a few reasons. minting errors, scarcity, and historical significance. So let's break down the details, starting with why this penny is so special. First off, let's talk about what a no mint mark coin actually means. Normally, US coins will have a mint mark, which tells you where the coin was produced. You'll find mint marks on the reverse side of the coin, right under the date. For example, a D mint mark means the coin was made in Denver, and a P mint mark means Philadelphia. But the 2005 penny? It doesn't have a mint mark at all. And that's where things get interesting. In 2005, there was a bit of a slip-up. The US Mint, in an effort to standardize the production of pennies, decided to release a batch of 2005 pennies without the mint mark. This was a mistake, but a very lucrative one. No one expected this to happen, and now, those no mint mark pennies are considered one of the rarest types of Lincoln pennies out there. Now, let's get to the good stuff. Why is this coin worth $1.8 million? Well, rarity drives the value. Plain and simple. The 2005 no mint mark penny is extremely scarce. When you combine the fact that the US Mint made a mistake and only a limited number of these pennies were produced, it instantly becomes a highly sought-after piece for collectors. The coin was originally mass-produced, but after the error was discovered, the Mint quickly corrected it. That means only a small handful of these coins have survived, and they've been locked away in private collections for years. Collectors pay top dollar for coins like this because owning a piece of history feels pretty darn cool. Think about it. You've got a coin that was produced during a historic period and is one of the few remaining specimens of that era. It's like having a tiny piece of Americana in your pocket, but instead of being worth a couple of cents, it could be worth almost $2 million. But hold up. Just finding a 2005 penny with no mint mark doesn't automatically mean you've struck gold. It's all about the condition of the coin. The higher the quality, the more valuable it is. Coins that are in pristine, uncirculated condition can be worth much more. So, if you find one of these bad boys in your collection, you'll want to have it appraised. You don't want to make the mistake I made once, tossing out a rare coin because you didn't know any better. Trust me, it stings. How can you spot a 2005 no mint mark penny? Great question. It's pretty simple once you know what to look for. When you check your pennies from 2005, first look at the date. If you see a 2005, check to see if there's a mint mark under the date. If it's blank, then you've got a no mint mark penny on your hands. But don't stop there. The condition is key. If your coin looks like it's been through 100 coin tosses or has seen better days, it won't be worth much. A pristine, well-preserved coin with sharp details is where the big money is at. Also, be careful when buying or selling these coins. The market for rare coins can be tricky, and there are plenty of counterfeiters out there trying to pass off fake coins as real. Always buy from reputable dealers and make sure to get your coin authenticated. A little extra work now can pay off big time later. So, there you have it. The 2005 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny isn't just your ordinary piece of pocket change. It's a rare collector's item that could be worth up to $1.8 million, and it's hiding right under your nose, maybe in your coin jar, your old piggy bank, or buried deep in your collection. It's all about knowing what to look for and being aware of the treasure right in front of you. Now, if you're anything like me, this whole coin hunting thing just got a little bit more exciting. Who knows? You might just have a couple of rare pennies lying around that could make you a fortune. If you want to keep learning about coins worth big money, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. I'll be sharing more tips, strategies, and fun stories about coin collecting that'll help you track down the next big find. So go ahead, check your change, and who knows, you might just be holding on to your own little gold mine. Until next time. Hey, coin enthusiasts, picture this. You're at a flea market, rummaging through a pile of pennies, and you spot a 2003 Lincoln penny. You think, nothing special about that one, and toss it aside. Well, let me tell you, that could be a $1.9 million mistake. Yep, you heard me right. A 2003 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny could be worth nearly $2 million. I know, it sounds crazy, but trust me, there's more to these pennies than meets the eye. Today, I'm going to walk you through why that seemingly ordinary penny could be hiding an extraordinary value. So grab a snack and settle in, because this is going to be a ride full of surprises. You're probably asking, what makes this 2003 penny so special? Well, it all comes down to something you might have missed when you were first looking at it. There's no mint mark. Usually, when you look at a coin, you'll see a little mint mark on the front, like a D for Denver or P for Philadelphia. But the 2003 penny without a mint mark is a total anomaly. It's like finding a rare Pokemon in the wild. It's not supposed to be there, but when you catch it, you've got something valuable on your hands. This coin isn't just a rarity because it doesn't have the mint mark. There's also the story of how these coins made their way into circulation. You see, the US Mint only produced a small number of these 2003 pennies without mint marks. Most of the pennies produced in 2003 had either a D or P mint mark, but a few slipped through the cracks and got out there without any mark at all. That's where the value starts to add up. People didn't realize they had something rare, and for a while, they were just sitting in people's change jars, waiting to be discovered. So, let's talk numbers. The value of a 2003 no mint mark penny is not some wild guess or wishful thinking. The market value for a well-preserved one of these coins can easily hit up to $1.9 million. And that's not just for any old penny. You'll need a coin that's in mint condition, graded at least MS 65 or higher, if you want to see that kind of value. But trust me, it's out there. People have found these coins in the most unlikely places, like in old coin collections, estate sales, or even just while cleaning out their kids' piggy banks. What if I've got a stack of M and I've been ignoring a gold mine this whole time? Well, that's where the fun begins. First, you need to check for the telltale sign of no mint mark. But there's also another thing to look out for, something called error coins. These can drive the value up even further. For example, if you've got a 2003 penny that has some sort of misprint or flaw in the design, that can make the coin even more valuable. Some people have paid thousands of dollars just for a coin with a tiny mistake. It's like a collector's dream come true. And before you go digging through your spare change, let me share a personal story. A few years ago, I was cleaning out my garage and found a box of old change that I hadn't touched in years. It was full of pennies, nickels, dimes, basically a treasure trove of forgotten coins. I remember pulling out a few random pennies, checking their dates, and tossing most of them aside. But then I found a 2003 penny, no mint mark. I didn't think much of it at first, but something told me to hang on to it. A few months later, I did a little research and realized it could be worth something crazy. I didn't find a $1.9 million penny, but I did find a coin worth far more than I expected, and it taught me the importance of double-checking your change. Moral of the story? You never know what might be sitting under your nose. If you've got a 2003 penny lying around, it's definitely worth checking out. Who knows? You might just have a hidden gem on your hands that could make you a small fortune. And even if it's not worth millions, it's still fun to learn about these crazy rare finds, right? So, before you go off to check your coin jar, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button, because I've got tons more tips on coins worth money, how to spot rarities, and strategies to start building your own collection. Trust me, you won't want to miss out on these gems. And hey, if you find something awesome, let me know in the comments. Maybe you'll be the next one to discover the next big thing in coin collecting. Hey everyone, I've got a coin story for you today that might just blow your mind. Picture this. You're sifting through a jar of loose change, maybe after cleaning out the couch cushions or raiding your old coin jar in the garage, when you stumble across a coin, just an ordinary penny. But wait, what if I told you that penny, yes, that tiny little copper coin, could be worth $2.1 million? Sounds too good to be true, right? Well, grab your magnifying glass and settle in, because I'm about to tell you all about the 2008 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny and how it could be sitting in your pocket right now, waiting to make you a millionaire. Stick around to the end, because I've got some strategies to help you spot coins like this one and make your collection worth a fortune. But this isn't just any penny we're talking about. This is the 2008 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Now, let me break this down for you. The US Mint usually stamps pennies with a little mint mark to tell you where it was made. Normally, you'll find a mint mark like D for Denver or S for San Francisco on most coins. But the 2008 no mint mark penny is missing this mark, and that's where the value lies. Well, back in 2008, the US Mint made a rare mistake. They were so focused on making the new Lincoln pennies for the bicentennial of his birth that they accidentally forgot to stamp some of them with a mint mark. These error coins are incredibly rare, and that's why they're worth so much. When collectors first started to catch wind of this, they began searching through their change to see if they could find one of these missing marked pennies. At the time, these pennies were worth a few bucks, maybe even $20 or $30 to a dedicated collector. But as time went on and the number of these error pennies remained so low, their value shot through the roof. In fact, the current market value for a 2008 no mint mark penny is sitting at around $2.10 million. How do I even tell if I've got one of these bad boys? It's actually simpler than you might think. First, check for the year 2008. Second, look for that missing mint mark. That's the key to identifying the coin. Now, I want to share a personal story with you. A few years ago, I was in a coin shop, nothing special, just browsing like I do, and I overheard a guy talking about this very penny. He mentioned finding one in a batch of pennies he picked up at a local bank. He was a regular customer, so the store owner didn't think much of it at first, until the guy came back with it in a display case, ready to sell it for a pretty penny, pun intended. This is exactly why it's important to keep your eyes peeled when dealing with change. You never know when something seemingly insignificant can turn into a small fortune. And I'll admit, I've been that guy who found a penny in the parking lot and tossed it into my pocket without thinking twice. I mean, who wouldn't, right? But you can bet I'll be inspecting every penny I find from now on. Let's talk about the market for a minute. So, if you find a 2008 no mint mark penny, don't just toss it aside thinking it's another mint penny. It could be worth thousands, even millions depending on its condition and the exact market demand at the time. A penny in excellent condition, especially one that's never been circulated, is going to be more valuable than one that's seen better days. So, how do you know if yours is in mint condition? Look for signs of wear, any scratches, or fading. The cleaner, the better. Okay, so it's worth millions, but is anyone actually paying that much for it? The answer is yes. The coin collecting world can be pretty wild, especially when rare coins like these hit the market. And trust me, there are buyers out there who are ready to shell out big bucks for coins with historical significance or unusual features like this one. So, never underestimate the value of a seemingly simple penny. Well, first off, don't underestimate your loose change. That penny you find today could be worth a fortune tomorrow. It's all about knowing what to look for and being patient. Coin collecting can be a fun and rewarding hobby, and it might just make you a lot of money if you're lucky enough to find a rare piece like the 2008 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Before you go, I've got a favor to ask. If you found this info helpful and you want to hear more tips on coins worth money and how to spot rare finds, hit that subscribe button and join the community. I'll be sharing even more coin collecting strategies, tips, and secrets that could make you a serious collector or maybe even a millionaire. Who knows? You might be the next one to find that elusive penny worth millions.